Hi everyone, welcome again to Bake Your Way Kitchen. On today's video we're going to do a simple, easy custard. It's so easy to do, just requires just a few ingredients. It looks like I've got a lot here, but I've got everything laid out. And as you've seen before in my videos, I recommend that you have everything laid out to make the job easier. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to need is some egg whites, and all the information, recipe details will be available at bakeyourway.com. That's 4 egg whites, and there's a lot of stuff here, so I'm just going to bring this around. And what I'm going to do is, before I beat this, we need to first, I probably should have introduced, you're going to need 4 eggs. You're going to need the egg whites and the egg yolks separate, so you can use an egg separator or whatever method you use to separate your eggs. And I've got my egg whites here. I added a pinch of salt. You could add cream of tartar, a little bit of lemon juice. It really, it's up to you, or you can just try beating it on its own. It's very important that there's no egg yolk in it, otherwise, because what we're looking for is to beat this till stiff peaks. And just before we beat this, make sure that you've greased an 8-inch square baking pan, and you have your oven preheated to about 320 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius. Alright, so now I'm going to get going on this. I'll be back in a couple minutes, and what we're looking for is stiff peaks. So now I can move on. So what I've got here is my egg yolks, which I'm going to put in a bowl. But before I do, take a look at how orange those yolks are. That's a sign of a quality egg. If it's very yellow or pale color, it's not a very good egg. If it's got a nice orange color, these are organic eggs. I find organic eggs are always best. And we're going to beat the egg yolks, usual combination egg yolks and sugar. So we're going to beat the egg yolks with some sugar. We're going to give this a good beating. You're going to want to beat this for about a minute. You basically want to incorporate some air. You want it to kind of turn a little bit of a pale yellow color in the end. So you just want to give it a good mix. You could do this in a handheld mixer or by hand, as I'm doing right now. I like to do it by hand so that I can show you that it's very easy to do that way. You don't need any special mixers. Alright, we're just about there. So we got a pale yellow color. And you can get that by really beating it in. And to this we're going to add in some melted butter. And you won't believe it when I say this, but I usually always use butter. And I was planning on making this video today because, kind of a long story, but I need to be here because of a delivery for someone else. And so I was looking in the fridge because I was planning on making this video, and I was out of butter. So I used shortening. Ideally for custard you always want to use butter, but shortening and oil are always, you can always sub them, and it's great too. So I'm also going to add in a little bit of lemon, or orange, sorry. I got some a little bit in my eye. Add as much or as little as you want. You can do that, you can leave it out. I'll also add a little bit of vanilla. Just a wee bit. And I'm going to mix this in. Just want to get it all combined here. And you're going to see it combines quite quickly. Okay, so now we're ready to move on. We've got our beautiful egg yolk mixture here. So now there's a couple things we're going to do. First of all, we're going to add in our flour. And this is about a cup of flour with a pinch of salt. So a cup of flour is 100. I'm going to switch to my spatula. A cup of flour is about 130 grams. So there we go. Whoops. Careful not to get it on you like I did just now. That's why it's always best to have an apron. I lost mine, and the only one is my mom's, and it kind of says like Italian cooking women on it, so I'm probably not going to wear that one. Alright, So now I'm going to add in the milk. This is about 2 cups of milk. You're going to see the mixture is going to turn very runny. That's completely normal because this is a custard, so it is going to be on the soft side after it bakes. So just slowly, because you don't want the milk to splatter all over your kitchen. This will eventually, after giving it a bit of time, you might want to use a whisk for this part if you're having some difficulty. So just careful whisking, making sure that you get everything all mixed and incorporated without any lumps. And looks like we're just about there right now. Alright, very good. So now there's 2 more steps. One is to add in our egg whites. Sorry, you could do this all at once, or I got a big enough bowl, so I'm just going to fold it in all together. And you just want to do the folding motion, as I've shown in previous videos, to ensure that you don't deflate the egg whites. So just kind of do around and up, around and up, around and up, kind of like that. And as you can see, that you can put this together so quickly, it's unbelievable. Now, a few optional ingredients you can add that I'm probably going to add right now, because I just can't get enough of them, is chocolate chips and espresso mix. So I'm going to add in a little bit of espresso. I just can't get enough. You know, it's interesting. I love the espresso flavor in desserts, but I'm not crazy about coffee. I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but when it comes to desserts, I really love it. And especially in a custard, for me, I mean, you can totally leave that out, or you can add whatever it is you want, whatever flavorings. Now, I am going to add some chocolate chips. Now, because I'm adding chocolate chips, I'm going to add a little bit of flour. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of flour to this, probably about a couple tablespoons, so that the chocolate wraps is kind of coated with the flour. That way the chocolate doesn't automatically sink to the bottom of the custard. So I'm going to be back to do that and put it in, and then I'll assemble it and we'll put it in the oven. So I added in the chocolate chips, so hopefully that helps them from not sinking as much. And so now we're going to pour this into our square pan here. Sure we get everything out there. And actually, you could do this in a 9-inch, because this goes right to the top. But I'm going to keep it in the 8-inch, because I think the 9-inch will be too thin. And I kind of like to have a custard that's a little bit thicker. So now you want to make sure you just tap it quickly. Air bubbles that may be apparent in it, that'll help it. So now we're going to put this in an oven. Now here's what I would suggest. Put it on a cookie sheet. Put it on some other surface, because if it bubbles over or something, you don't end up having to clean your whole oven. Because if you know about cleaning ovens, it's absolutely the worst thing in the kitchen to clean. So we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven. It's going to need around about 45 to 55 minutes. What you're looking for, if you put a toothpick in the center, there should be, because it's a custard and because it's moist, there should be something that picks up with it. But you want the custard to have set. And when it's out, you need to let it cool completely before even thinking about cutting it, because custard is very, very sensitive. So you want to be sure that you're very careful with how you cut it. I'm going to go ahead, put this in the oven, and I'll show you.